Hi, and welcome to the Health Begins with Mom show. I am Dorit Palvanov, your host. On this podcast, I will share insights and interviews on health, parenting, and explore the question of what does it take to thrive as women, wives, and mothers. Now, let's get going with today's episode. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Health Begins with Mom podcast. This is Dorit Palvanov, your host. If you're new to the show, welcome. I know we have new listeners to the show. And for those of you who are returning, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for sharing your most valued resource with me, which is your time. I know that as busy women, busy moms, we have a million other things that we can do instead of being here. So if you're here, thank you. I really appreciate it. So if you're new to me or to this show is where we talk about the intersection between your health as a woman, your sacred work at home as a wife and mother, and how to tap into your life's work as a healer and creative in a way that feels aligned, authentic, and joyful. I believe that all mothers are healers, and we can make the world a better place beginning with us, which is why the show is called Health Begins with Mom. And today, drum roll please, dun 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 dun, episode number 100. Woohoo! So exciting. We've done it. We've made it together. We've been consistent, and I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of myself. And I cannot believe that this show that was maybe, I don't know, even 2 years ago was just a dream. And today we are already 100 episodes in. So if there is anything that I can share with you is that consistency, holy consistency is the name of the game. So if there is a dream, if there is something that you want to do, something you want to create, something that you want to build, do it. Do it one step at a time, just one step at a time. I heard a really great analogy today by a dear friend of mine, and she was sharing with me how her son is struggling with overwhelm and anxiety, and how one of the most helpful ways that she helps him is she helps to coach him through the struggle. So she had taught him that whenever he feels like he's overwhelmed, it basically feels like he's trying to eat up a whole elephant. And so every time he, experiences anxiety and overwhelm, she asks him this question: what elephant are you trying to eat whole? And then he would say, and then she would coach him to just take the first step. So for example, this morning he was struggling to get out of bed, and she told him, well, I understand, what elephant are you trying to swallow whole? So he said, I'm struggling to get out of bed. So then she said, all right, I know that on its, as a big thing, it seems difficult, but can you open up the blanket? So he did it. Amazing. So then the next step would be to put your feet on the ground. Can you do that? And then he did it. And then slowly, step by step, she basically got him to do what she wanted him to do, but he felt like it was too hard for him to do through this step by step. So I'm also going to impart this message on you today. If there is something that you really, really want to do, but you feel like it's too big, it's too overwhelming, just start with, the first step, and then the next step will unfold for you. So today, to celebrate our 100th episode, I want to talk about something that I don't think I ever talked about on the show, and that is female desire, and really the importance of tapping into desire, pleasure, and really listening to your soul's cravings, right? And I think when it comes to health, we all have cravings, whether it is food cravings or soul cravings. But I think the majority of us are really living lives that are not, or at least I think we are not taught to listen to those soul cravings and soul aches, or even to the, or even we're not taught how to listen to our bodies and what our bodies need in terms of, hunger cues. And so today I thought, because we are celebrating our 100 episodes, I will talk to you about desire and cravings. So let's dive in. So when it comes to desire, think about this question. How often were you asked by somebody, maybe growing up, by your parents, or maybe, the other important adults in your life, how often were you asked the question, honey, what do you want? Honey, what do you need? Honey, what do you desire? How often? Just think about it for a minute, If it's safe for you to close your eyes and just think about it. How often do we ask, as adult women already, grown up women, how often do we ask this question of each other? Maybe it's your sister, maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your friend, other women in your life. How often do we make this question an important and essential even question of our in our lives, really, right? I believe that this is an essential question in every woman's life, because the answer to this question helps us to really feel connected to our truth, to our authentic desires, really, to what makes us us, right? So my answer would be, would connect me, will help me to feel connected to my soul desires, to my authenticity and to my truth, and also to my purpose in the world, right? And so it would be the same for you too. However, I think the reason why we don't ask this question, either ourselves or of other people, of other women, is because the perception of the answer, not so much the question, but the answer, might seem maybe even dangerous to you, because it requires us to get really honest with who we are, and also to be willing to share that truth with others in a situation where somebody else asked you, right? So this is where I think vulnerability and honesty and, being relentless in terms of finding the truth or living in alignment with your truth, this is where it's really important. And in order to do so, from my own personal experience, I can share that it requires courage. It requires courage, because so many of us, and I see this across the board with all my clients, it's almost like we are asking for permission from the world around us to live, do, go, choose, create, build, to just live. So if we don't want to be living, somebody else's script, or dancing to somebody else's music, then authenticity, the way it's born, is with this question: what do you desire? What do you want? And I know, for example, from my own experience, getting to to this huge life-defining points in my life,
where I had to ask myself this question, and I had to be willing to accept the answer, right? Which sometimes is even harder to do. They were always huge turning points for me, because they made me face the fact that the status quo, or wherever I was in my current life, it's not working anymore. It's almost like it's obsolete, and I need to kind of shed the skin and move on to the next thing. And if you don't regularly ask yourself this question, what do you want? What do you desire? What do you crave? Then you never really get to experience the fullness of your potential or what is possible for you. And as you do that, as you really lean into the question, and I highly encourage you to take this question into your journal. Really sit with the answers. Allow yourself to just freely write the answers. I highly encourage you not to do this on the computer. Do this using pen to paper, because this is where the insights from your higher self will actually come, right? And what will happen to you, and this is a practice, you need to do this over and over and over again. But what will happen over time is that you will start moving from self-doubt to deepening self-trust. Through this process, you will access what I call your inner wise mother, who is your internal compass, who who is like, it's your intuitive GPS. She is the one who guides you and whispers in your ear and compels you to listen to your maternal instincts, really. And not only maternal, also your instincts as a human being, right? And so every time that you ask yourself these questions, and then you give yourself the time and the space to write out the answers, almost, I don't know, at least for me, 9 out of 10, I became not so much immediately, but because of seeing the answers in writing, it's very helpful to make you face the truth, right? To face the fact that whatever the status quo right now, it doesn't work, and it's not fulfilling to you. You no longer feel like it makes you joyful, and then you will have to take action in order to move away from it. And so almost always my life as a result became more vibrant, more potent, and more passionate. It's because that is what is super helpful for me, to feel like I am living in alignment with my deepest desires and not in alignment with somebody else's constructs or wishes for me. And believe me, I am a recovering pleaser, people pleaser, and I'm also the first. I'm the eldest in my family, and so being the rescuer and the pleasing everybody, it's very much in my bones. So for me, I have to be super deliberate and intentional, and it took me many, many, many years to finally feel like I am giving myself the time and the space to really manifest and create the life that I want to live. So as you grow up, as you mature, or maybe as you adult, you will be less frightened by this question. Because you will have enough experience. And again, like I said, it is a practice. The more you do it, the better at it you become. And also, I find that if you really stick with the writing, if you really keep digging, the answers, the answers that will be at the top of the page will be kind of like superficial things. So let me give you an example. For example, if I write, what do I crave? What do I desire? I might say things like, I want sleep. I need a shower. I need to go outside. I need to, have a vacation with my husband. Like, superficial things. I'm not saying they're not important. Of course they are, but they are kind of superficial. But then as I kind of sit with it and give myself the permission to dive deeper into the answer, then things like, I crave connection with women. Or I might say, I crave a deeper connection with my mom. I crave to cultivate a more meaningful relationships with some women in my community. Or I crave to show up bigger in my business. So more kind of, deeper layers of the desire will start coming up for you. And so I highly encourage you to sit with this question. Don't just, do it quickly and kind of like half-ass it, right? Really sit with it, because this is where insights are being born. And this is where you can finally start kind of distilling who you are, and really maybe even for the first time to meet who you are. I so many times when I speak to women, to mothers, we feel like who we were before we became moms and who we are after being a mom, it's like two different people, right? And so I believe that we were somebody before we became moms. And so it is really our responsibility to stay true to who we are and who we were, and not lose that. Not lose that sense of connection with ourselves. And this exercise will also help you to be honest and know that good things are coming, that you do have the control over your life. It's really a matter of understanding first, right? So by seeing it on paper, you will see where the problems are happening. And then from there, you will start taking actions to move yourself out of this situation. A little side note that I wanted to add here is very often when I do this exercise, I catch myself, I end up being in tears, sobbing, crying, and really feeling so vulnerable and so volatile. And I want you to know that this is part of the process. And actually, if you do cry, this is a pretty good indication that you are touching your heart, your essence, really your soul. And especially if this is something that you are kind of like reacquainting yourself with yourself for the first time and like forever. And the reason it happens is because this question is really, there's so much deep meaning that we often just kind of bypass. And most of us really live in our heads and not so much inside of our bodies. And so I think it is by doing this exercise, you will pierce straight to the heart and get right to the core of the problem. And so highly encourage you to stick with it and do it. I can share with you that in my work with women, this exercise is one of the first exercises that I get women to do. And immediately there is a lot of emotional charge that happens in this inquiry that women do with themselves. Because what happens, and again, this is my personal observation, is that we are not used to being asked those questions, and a lot of us just really forget what we are deeply longing for, what we deeply crave and desire. And when somebody else asks it of us, we immediately become vulnerably seen. And it's scary. It's scary as shit. It's so scary. And being seen and truly known, right? Like that somebody else would know our desires, it can be really scary, so much so that it would make us avoid those things that we desire or we crave or want so much, right? So that's why, in my opinion, it seems like it's many times easier, or or maybe it seems easier to just be the good girl, to comply, to be pleasing to others, and not bother other people with our with our wants and desires and needs. But what happens is, I see this over and over again as women, especially as women who are raising children and who want to do a really good job as a parent. Living this way, it's not fulfilling, it's not satisfying, and a lot of us feel like we are kind of like running on empty and not really living life to the fullest. And that this is what I'm all about. I want you to really cultivate that inner feeling of I matter, and choose yourself first always, so that you can give to your kids, to your husband, to your community, to your work, to all the pieces of your life that require more of you. In order for this to happen, while you have that inner feeling of joy, it has to, you first have to come to terms with who you are as a human being. All right, so I don't want you to keep spending a lot of time, trying to be somebody who you are not. Believe me, I've been there for years. It doesn't work. It's not who I am. And so it is much, much better for me and for my family to find me, to reinvigorate my relationship with myself, so that I can be of service to everybody else. And I'm going to end with this, if you don't give yourself the time and space and the permission also to find the answer to this question, then what is the point? You tell me. What is the point of your life? What is the point of your mothering? What is the point of your marriage? What is the point to living? What is the point? So I want you to really give yourself permission, because, we are, after all, episode 100. Sit with the question and really ask yourself, what do I desire? What do I crave? What do I long for? What currently is the most burning need or desire that I have, that I really would like to unravel for myself? And that's it. That's all I want you to do for this week. And if this is something that was kind of like, if you're curious about this, but you're like, oh my gosh, don't make me open my journal. I'm not going to do it. If you feel like you need somebody else to co-create this with you, to hold you accountable, then I have good news for you. I have opened up a few dates in my calendar. So I would love for you to head on over to my website. So you can go to www.healthbeginswithmom.com/discovery-call and schedule a call with me. It is free. We'll spend 30 minutes or so on the call, and we will talk about those things that you desire most than anything. And I will help you to feel more connected with yourself. So if this is something you want to do, if this is something that you feel called to do, I would love to support you. So head on over to my website. Again, the link is www.healthbeginswithmom.com/discovery-call. call. If you forget the link, just go to my website and you will see at the top menu there is a button called Let's Connect. So you can get to that booking page from there as well. All right, my love, I am sending you off with so much love and healing, and I will catch you next time. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to the Health Begins with Mom show. I love hearing from you, so please post your comments and questions over at healthbeginswithmom.com/podcast. If you love the show, please share it on social media and in your real life with other moms who might enjoy this content. And if you have a burning question or topic you'd like me to hit on the show, just drop me a line at dorit@healthbeginswithmom.com. And if you love this show and really want to support it, please go to iTunes, write a review, and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Much love and many blessings.